Um, the starting point for my work was the data that was collected in the UK between 1970 and 1990, showing that there'd been a 75% decline in one of the priority bird species that were present on our property. And in connection with the Earth Summit at Rio and the development of the biodiversity action plans, I've worked in the UK on their national strategy. And the thing that was apparent was that there was an awful lot of data and that scientists had collected, but none of it was being turned into management information, and how we could use that to inspire people to identify success and to accelerate knowledge exchange rather than just conflicting. So we went to the national government and some of the science organizations and designed a program that was formally endorsed by science and government that would calibrate performance for biodiversity. And through that small trial in the UK, we ended up with about 2% of the land area being registered with an interest in sustaining life, which was great. We had a whole collection of sites that used standard methodology to measure range and abundance of species. And through that, we were able to issue a collection of Life on Land awards for people working with red-listed species. And that was hugely encouraging against these backdrops of collective declines. Because of our proximity near Cambridge, we became involved with the Cambridge Conservation Initiative that has a number of international organizations associated with it, including the United Nations Environment Programme. And we were looking at aligning the work that we were doing in the UK with the international standards. And through that, we've become a stakeholder in the UN Action Plan for a Sustainable Planet in the Digital Age. And the work we're doing with the UN Action Plan is being able to take how you take global strategy to national responsibility and community action, and being able to present information in a consistent format so that practitioners can share knowledge rapidly. There is a sound scientific base for the education material and the stories that are being told that are so important, and the ability for people to connect with this through the formal channels, which is why the work that Maisalu is doing is of huge interest to us, and also some of the work in the with AI in the digital field, and some of the informal work that we've been looking at with building digital twins and gamification to reach wide audiences so that they can learn about that and aspire to replicating that in the real world. So the transition we're going through at the moment is between the proof of concept in the UK and building the framework of the life map, so that with the map in place for the nations and the communities, that we can then add the different modules onto the map. So for Life on Land and the protection of species, linking it with the work of the Living Planet Index and the IUCN Red List, so there is some consistent data and a flow of knowledge and activity from the vast to the tiny, and being able to aggregate activity back up through the process, so that we can have the imagery and be able to present hope to the generations coming forward, and to some of us old cynics that are getting a bit grumpy about the way things are working out at the moment. We're not interested in raising funds for what we're doing. What we are interested in doing is being able to provide a format where any project that's going forward is able to include one of these modules and use it to connect with others, to share information, to be able to present a collective imagery of the change in the world and how that is improving, accelerating, and consistently building hope throughout our local communities. And as you said with the comment about we are one people and we are one body, is that we need to be able to heal that body and to be able to show that there is a wave of excitement and improvement, in contrast to many of the headline declines. So I'm just hugely inspired by the people that I've been able to speak with within life on land, marine life, biodiversity, but also the work with this framework is that it puts it in the context of all the other components that sustain life aligned to the SDGs, because we don't work in isolation. And quite the fact we have a biodiversity crisis is that we actually have a food crisis, and that's causing the loss of biodiversity. The climate crisis is because we have an energy crisis, and the work with the life map shows the connection between these aspects and the forces that drive it, so that we can end up looking at holistic solutions rather than just working really hard in one area and finding that there are other areas that are continually undermining what we're trying to achieve. So bearing in mind the time element, I'm just hugely inspired by the guys that are out there doing amazing things. I'm hugely inspired by Maizalu and the collection of people that they're working with across the planet, and that we have a chance that with the inspired people that are around that are willing to make these differences, that we can fix things. So thank you very much for the opportunity of introducing the life map, and I'd be really happy to continue discussions after this connect with me through LinkedIn.